messaging yan, political messaging yan sa Pilipinas sa administration ni BBM na sinasabi lang nila na if you continue to have this so-called selective arrest of the Chinese national in the Philippines na may mga papers naman, legal naman, at the same time yung gitgitan sa South China Sea, if it's kung nag-overboard na yan, depende sa ginagawa ng BBM administration at of course Gibo on that note. At saka yung ang pinaka-contentious kasi dyan, ang pinaka-sensitive dyan is yung perceived na pakikisawsaw ng Pilipinas sa issue ng Taiwan. Kasi that is really the red line of China. And as far as I'm concerned, ang sinasabi ko nga lagi, when you talk about the Taiwan issue, it's really the red line. China will not blink an eye. But when you talk about the South China Sea, kayang makipag-negotiate, kayang makipag-dialogo dyan. At I think the Chinese will sit down and talk with us. Pero when you talk about Taiwan at kung magkakaroon ka ng parang some kind of minilateral alliance between the Philippines, United States, and Japan against China over Taiwan, that is really a dangerous path for the Philippines. We should avoid this because this is really the red line as far as Beijing is concerned.
Po, ano pang inaasahan po ninyo, Prof, sa kasunod nga ng pagbisita ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos Jr. dyan po sa Russia? Bukod nga sa pagtulong dito sa mga kababayan nating OFW, ano-ano pa pong mga isyong like political or sa economical na bahagi po na aspeto ng ating bansa?
Sa akin kasi ini-expect ko na mas mapapabuti ang relationship natin with Russia, especially when you talk about energy security. Kasi ang Russia is a major supplier ng LNG gas and even I think oil in that, for that matter, or energy-related products. So that is very important part of our relationship na sana ma-maximize ni BBM habang nasa posisyon siya bilang presidente since katatapos lang naman ng kanilang pag-uusap ni President Putin. Pero nang nakita ko yung isang news, sinasabi ni BBM na because of geopolitical issues, hindi pa masyadong na-iron out, I think, ang tinatawag mong possible energy partnership between Russia and the Philippines. And I think another important aspect na sana i-follow through at saka magkaroon ng i-maximize din ni BBM at ng kanyang administration is when you talk about food security, kasi ang Russia ay isa sa mga bansa na kung saan nagsusupply ng wheat at the same time agricultural inputs like fertilizers. That's one. I think the tourism industry can benefit from tourists coming from Russia, and of course we can also go to Russia for tourism, pero hindi pa ata tayo nagkakaroon or wala pa talagang final or news na like Filipinos can go to Russia without visa, Russian visa. So that's another thing. And I think more on business. And business, ibig sabihin investment from Russia to the Philippines, and possibly our businessmen can also do business with Russia, with the Russians. Like for example, exporting our goods to the Russian market. So ito yung mga posibleng maaaring benefit ng kanilang bilateral meetings, pero so far at the moment we don't know yet kung ano na ba, kung established na ba ito, kung mangyayari ba ito, kasi I think of course katatapos lang kanilang bilateral meeting, so i-iron out pa nila yung mga detalye dito.
Sa tingin po ninyo, Prof, kilala po natin ang Russia na bilang isang kaalyado po ng China, at ang China ngayon, alam na natin yung relasyon natin sa pagitan ng ating bansa. Ano po yung nag-udyok kay Pangulong Bongbong Marcos Jr. na nakikita po ninyo? Bakit ngayon ay nagkaroon po tayo ng pagpupulong, nagkaroon po siya ng pagpupulong pag uusap nga dito kay Russian President Vladimir Putin?
I think yung kanyang bilateral meeting with Vladimir Putin is a side activity dun sa tinatawag mong ASEAN Russia, some kind of commemoration ng kanilang partnership na 35 years. So I think minaximize na ng current administration ng BBM na makipag-usap kay Vladimir Putin, kay President Putin, when you talk about bilateral relation ng dalawang bansa. I think this is a good move as far as the Philippines is concerned, kasi Russia is a major power in the world, at the same time, ang relasyon natin sa Russia would benefit us, especially when you talk about energy security. I think ito rin yung isa sa mga importanteng bagay siguro na naiisip ng administrasyon, since ang Pilipinas ay nagkakaroon ngayon ng tinatawag mong energy crisis. And I think during that time and even until now na nagkaroon ng pagsasara ng Strait of Hormuz, it's actually Russia who gave us as well supply, and we bought oil and gas from Russia even during that time na nagkakaroon ng gitgitan at gera between Iran and the United States. So in a way, this is a productive visit to a greater extent, to be fair with BBM. However, ang challenge kasi dyan is to paano mo siya itutuloy at ano yung mga gagawin mo, follow through, given na the Philippines is also a military ally of the United States. And the United States is some kind of a perceived adversary of Russia and vice versa. So ito yung geopolitical pa rin ang challenge ng Pilipinas. Paano mo babalansihin ang relationship mo with Russia given na may MDT ka, and BBM administration, when you talk about foreign policy and even defense and military, is very much leaning to the United States. So yan yung mga challenges ni BBM administration, and I don't know how he gonna, try to fix this. Kasi nga, sabi nga niya, kahit dahil sa geopolitical na aspeto, hindi nila ma-confirm kung ang deal when you talk about energy between Russia and the Philippines matutuloy. Kasi nga, dun nga sa geopolitical issue, I think the United States is a factor to this.
Meron ba silang pahayag din, Prof, itong Russia, although hindi naman talaga, wala naman silang kinalaman dito sa away ng Pilipinas and China sa West Philippine Sea. Pero in any way, ano yung mga pahayag o yung stand po mismo ng Russia patungkol sa issue na yan? Lalo na itong China, kaalyado po nila, at ang Pilipinas naman, alam natin na backup ng Amerika. Ano po sa tingin ng Russia ang issue ito diyan po sa West Philippine Sea?
Ang magandang tanong yan, kasi ang tingin ko naman kasi, ang relationship dapat ng Pilipinas with Russia should be independent from the challenging relationship of the Philippines with China. Pero one thing na kailangan natin maintindihan, ang China and Russia are very close when you talk about being friends. Kasi talagang close yan at allies yan in many ways, especially when you talk about global issues, when you talk about military, and when you talk about defense. So yun yung totoo dyan. So tayo, ang kailangan siguro is for the Philippines to know how to be, how to isolate your relationship with Russia vis-a-vis China. However, hindi yan madaling usapan kasi kung titignan mo rin ang China and the United States, competitors yan, at saka ang China is a perceived adversary to some extent by the United States. So ang Pilipinas naman is a defense and military ally of the United States. So triangle ba kung ganun ang pag-uusapan. Pero ang lang naman dyan is sana nga, yun ang nga sinasabi ko lagi, kung sana nga lang ang Pilipinas would always maintain what you call independent foreign policy, neutrality, and also equidistance between different superpowers or major powers in the world like Russia, China, and the United States. Mas madaling maneuver, mas madali tayong makakamaneuver, at mas madali tayong magkakaroon ng deeper relationship with all major powers na hindi tayo napiperceive as an ally or as leaning to one major power. Kasi yun ang mahirap kapag ang isang bansa tulad ng Pilipinas, nakatag na siya na yan ay ally talaga at frontline state ng Amerika. So yun yung sinasabi ko lagi na sana naiintindihan ito ng mga Pilipino na pagdating sa mga ganitong sitwasyon, it's still good to have this independent foreign policy, neutrality, and what you call friends to all, pero hindi ka adversary or perceived adversary ng sino mang major power or any country for that matter. Kasi importante ito, kailangan ng Pilipinas ang magandang relationship sa lahat ng major powers in the world, and that would include United States, China, and even Russia for that matter. So ito yung mga bagay na dapat iniisip ng mga Pilipino, especially ng current administration ng BBM. How ito makaka-affect sa relationship ng Philippines at Russia given na medyo gitgitan tayo sa South China Sea with China? I don't think makaka-apekto naman as far as Russia is concerned. I think Russia knows how to balance its relationship with other countries. However, when you talk about standing Russia in the South China Sea, I don't think it's a party to the conflict. I don't think ang policy ng Russia is makisawsaw sa mga conflict na hindi sila kasali. I think President Putin is a very sophisticated and very mature world leader at alam niya kung ano yung mga boundaries nila bilang isang bansa. So I don't really have any problem, or I don't really see any problem with the relationship of the Philippines and Russia as far as President Putin is concerned and as far as the South China Sea is concerned. However, when you talk about other matters globally, for example, defense and military at yung escalation ng escalation ng possible military conflict in the region, doon tayo magkakaroon ng gitgitan because definitely Russia and China are on the one side as against the Western Alliance. Yeah.
Opo. Kasunod nga ng pagpupulong na yan, no, ng Russia at Pilipinas, possible ho ba, nakikita ho ba ninyo, Prof, na possible pang mangyari na magkaroon po ng pagkakataon na magpulong o mag-usap din po yung Pilipinas at China?
Well, I think naman dapat talaga magkaroon ng masinsinang pag-uusap, sincere at open-minded discussion between China and the Philippines. At kailangan din talagang pagtuunan yung challenging relationship ng China and the Philippines. Kasi ang China is our neighbor. Ang Russia kasi is a bit far from the Philippines. Nasa European continent yon. Pero ang China is an immediate neighbor of the Philippines. So kailangan talaga magkaroon ng way out paano magkakaroon ng magandang relasyon ang dalawang bansa. It's not that you need to be the best friend of China. It's not like that. What is important between China and the Philippines, it should have a functional relationship that it can relate with each other even though mayroon kang tinatawag na conflict of interest in the South China Sea. Hindi mo naman kasi kailangan maging best friend ng isang bansa para magkaroon ka ng workable at functional and constructive relationship. Kailangan kasi marunong ka rin mag-separate ng tinatawag mong conflict, which is the South China Sea, and other relationship ng Philippines and China, and that would include economic, especially the economics front. So yun yung sinasabi ko na importante ang pag-uusap, diplomasya pa rin ang solusyon sa challenging relationship ng dalawang bansa, China and the Philippines, at hindi yung bravado at hindi yung militarism or any kind of putting the Philippines as a frontline state against China used by the United States. Ito yung mga sinasabi ko na at the end of the day, the Philippines should think of its national interests and should think of what is good for the country. And again, uulitin ko, an independent foreign policy is very important. Equidistance between different major powers like China, Russia, and the United States is very important. Being a friend of China, or let us say having a good functional relationship with China is also important. Take note, it is a major power, it's in the region, it's our neighbor, and we cannot do away with this reality. So it's good for us to have functional relationship. If we cannot be best friend with China because of the South China Sea, at least we have a very functional relationship that would work both ways, and we benefit from that.
Lalo na ngayon, Prof, alam natin na ilan po sa mga opisyal ng gobyerno, particular na mismo, yung DND chief po natin ay nahaharap po sa sanction na mula sa China. Ayan, paano yan makaka-epekto sa relasyon po natin sa China?
Well, ang sanction naman is a political message. Ang sanction kay Gibot, ang basa ko kasi dyan, I actually wrote an article in the Manila Times published last Saturday. Ang sinasabi ko nga, messaging yan, political messaging yan sa Pilipinas, sa administration ni BBM, na sinasabi lang nila na if you continue to have this so-called selective arrest of the Chinese national in the Philippines na may mga papers naman, legal naman, at the same time yung gitgitan sa South China Sea, kung nag-overboard na yan, depende sa ginagawa ng BBM administration at of course Gibo on that note. At saka ang pinaka-contentious kasi dyan, ang pinaka-sensitive dyan is yung perceived na pakikisawsaw ng Pilipinas sa issue ng Taiwan. Kasi that is really the red line of China. And as far as I'm concerned, ang sinasabi ko nga lagi, when you talk about the Taiwan issue, it's really the red line. China will not blink an eye. But when you talk about the South China Sea, kayang makipag-negotiate, kayang makipag-dialogo dyan. At I think the Chinese will sit down and talk with us. Pero when you talk about Taiwan, at kung magkakaroon ka ng parang some kind of minilateral alliance between the Philippines, United States, and Japan against China over Taiwan, that is really a dangerous path for the Philippines. We should avoid this because this is really the red line as far as Beijing is concerned. So sa akin, ang South China Sea kaya i-negotiate, pero yung Taiwan, wag na tayong makialam dyan para wala tayong problema sa China. Kasi talaga nila, core national interest talaga yan. I'm not kidding. So yun.
Opo, pero yung sanction na ito laban kay DND Chief Gibo Teodoro, Prof, laban lamang sa isang individual at hindi laban sa mas malawak na grupo, I mean, sa administrasyon mismo, yung implikasyon po nito.
Ay, dalawa yan. Dalawang level yan. It's sanction against Gibo as an individual, I think. But at the same time, it's a message to the BBM administration na, we will not allow or anything that will, parang ang posisyon kasi dyan ng Beijing or ng China is, we will not allow any country or any individual for that matter to interfere in our core national interest. And that is Taiwan question. Yun.
Opo.
Kasi ang tingin ko kasi, hindi lang yan about the South China Sea issue or hindi lang yan about yung selective arrest ng mga Chinese nationals sa Pilipinas. I think it's really more about the Taiwan Strait question precisely because the Philippines and Japan had these talks of delimitation in that around the waters of Taiwan, which is really nagkaroon yan ng malakas and strong statement coming from the State Council, some kind of spokesperson for Taiwan affairs. So narinig ko yan, pinanood ko yung press conference. So very strong ang kanilang statement and they are opposed to this so-called parang pag-uusap ng Japan at the Philippines. Well, of course, the United States is always part of it. And ang delimitation ng maritime waters na malapit sa Taiwan or nasa loob sa Taiwan kasi that is again a red line for the Chinese. So yun I think isa sa pinakamalaking factor. So sa akin it's both a message to the BBM administration na hinay-hinay lang, wag niyo pakialaman itong red line namin, at the same time as an individual na message din kay Gibo na you're going overboard as far as they are concerned, the Chinese. Of course, iba naman din ang tayo natin bilang isang bansa at mga Pilipino na sinasabi nga natin na, the DFA said na unfriendly siya. Ako naman, of course, it's an unfriendly act kasi ang sitting defense secretary mo, isanction ba naman? Of course, it's unfriendly. But at the end of the day, what I can say is that's a prerogative of China. They are a sovereign state and they can decide kung sino ang papapasukin at hindi papapasukin nila sa Pilipinas. The same manner na tayo din magde-decide kung sino papapasukin natin sa ating bansa at hindi. Prerogative natin yun at saka rights natin yun because we are a sovereign state. In the same manner na ganun din ang China. So wala tayong magagawa doon. Siguro ang magagawa lang natin is the current administration ng BBM, basahin nila yung signal. Kasi signaling yan Political signaling yan and message. Pero I don't think the Chinese or China would do something na, would jeopardize the welfare of the Filipino people. That I think I can say.
Opo.
Yeah.
Prof, huli na lang, doon po sa Middle East, tapos na ho ba ang tensyon o giyera po dyan sa Middle East kasunod nga ng paglalagda ng agreement sa pagitan ng US at Iran kamakailan?
Well, mayroon na tinatawag na Memorandum of Agreement or Understanding na nilagdaan ng both sides ng United States at saka ng Iran. However, it's already a good sign, it's a good step. However, challenging pa rin yan kasi ang alam ko kahapon ata nabasa ko sa news na sinara ulit ang Strait of Hormuz because I think Israel is bombing Lebanon and Lebanon is an ally of Iran. So hindi pa siya I would not say na na siya, tawag nito talagang stable na lahat dyan sa Middle East or yun sa part na may gitgitan between Iran, the United States and Israel. Hindi pa ganun ka-stable yan. Pero at least mayroon ng MOU between Iran and the United States and hopefully magpa-follow through ang both parties kung anong napag-agrihan nila. However, ang challenge kasi dyan, Israel is still doing some kind of attack against yung mga allies ng Iran sa Middle East and one of that is Lebanon. Kaya sinara ulit ang Strait of Hormuz. Kasi isa sa kanilang mga panawagan ng Iran is yung gusto talaga nila is tama na ang pagbobomba sa Lebanon ng Israel. So isa yan sa pinakamahirap na I think usapin at kailangan i-resolve ng United States kasi ang Israel is an ally of the United States. Nakikinig lang naman ang Israel or yung nasa leadership ng Israel sa United States kasi sila ang suppliers ng arms and ang United States ang big brother ng Israel on that note. So yan ay maganda na may MOU ka or agreement na sign, pero challenging pa rin. At titignan natin na kung ano mangyayari kasi volatile situation yan eh. Hindi yan stable pa at this time eh. Volatile. Pero ang mahirap kasi dyan, kasi volatile situation, ang supply of oil dyan sa Strait of Hormuz or energy-related products is still not secured at saka apektado pa rin ang Pilipinas. Kasi tayo ay importer ng oil-related products and even gas, LNG and others. So yun yung ang sa akin lang sa Pilipinas kailangan mas maging ano tayo aware sa nangyayari sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo kasi apektado din tayo tulad ngayon sa nangyayari pa rin dyan sa Middle East. So yun yung tingin ko.